Hey guys, Sarah here from Recovering Book Hoarder, and today is my wrap up for the month of September. I apologize that this is so late. I've had an awful lot going on. So overall, quantity-wise, it was a good reading month. I can't say it was my favorite reading month of the year, but I did get a lot read. I did have a couple really good reads. Had some DNFs, had some not so great reads, but let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I'm going to go through this in the order that I'm going to tell you guys what prompts they were for and then what I read that was not part of any of my games or challenges. So first, my 5-star prediction of the month was Navigating Nico, a collection of gifts from my son by Dana Bauer, and this was written by one of my really good friends, and it is about her son Nico, who is on the autism spectrum, and the way that him and his personality and his special traits and his gifts and how they have blessed their family, what it looks like. But it's raw too. Do you know what I mean? It's raw but hopeful. If you know or love anyone on the autism spectrum, I highly recommend getting this. It is such a short little read. It's only, let's see, it's only 49 pages, and it is just excellent. And I mean, look at them. That's Nico and Dana. And there are 4 children in their family, mom, dad, 4 kids. And they are a very real family. And you guys, it's just available over on Amazon. She has such an amazing gift with words. She also has an amazing blog that I will link down below as well. Okay, then for my my 21 books in 2021, I read The Time Traveler's Guide to Medieval England, a handbook for visitors to the 14th century by Mortimer. And this did what it set out to do, the purpose of the book, which I feel like I could probably fairly successfully go and navigate medieval England. It wasn't as entertaining as I thought it would be, though. So it's my 3 stars. It did what it set out to do, but not as entertaining as I feel like it could have done it. If you are someone that really enjoys gaming and putting together D&D campaigns, then I think that this will be a really helpful guide for writing a campaign. And I'm going to pass this along to my cousin, who is a dungeon master, and I think that he could get some use out of it. All right, then so April over at Getting Hooked with It did this really cool recommendation video that I will link down below, where over on her Patreon page, she said, guess a number from, and gave us a range. And then based on that number, she made a really cool recommendation video. And so my recommendation was Queenie by Candace Carty Williams. And this was an enjoyable read. It was fairly quick. It was fairly witty. I ended up giving it 3 stars. Unfortunately, when I'm looking back at it now, there's not a whole lot about it that sticks out in my head. But it was fun. It was enjoyable. It was 3 stars. It was a good pick, but I'm going to pass that one along as well. Then I landed on fantasy on my TBR game, and for that I chose Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castile, and I was so excited to read this. I had seen a recommendation video for it, and it made it sound so intriguing and amazing, and was really excited to get my hands on it. And unfortunately, it did not really live up to my expectations, and I will be passing this one along as well. It was 3 stars. It was fine, but I don't feel any need to continue with the series. And there's a lot in the series from what I understand. All right, then I landed on a title that starts with M. So for that, I chose Messy Beautiful Love by Darlene Schacht. Hope and Redemption for Real Life Marriages. And I do have a real life marriage. I love my husband so much. He's so much better than I am, though. He is so good to me. I could be so much better. I try to read a marriage book and a parenting book every year, and so this is the one I chose this year. And again, it was fine, but a lot of this didn't really apply to my marriage. She had committed, the wife in here, she has committed adultery, and kind of looking back on that and what she would have done differently. And I mean, there's some practical things in here too, but there weren't really many takeaways in here. It is written from a Christian perspective. I don't know if I said or not, 3 stars. Okay, then I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, and this was for Random Color Black, and there's black in the title, and the lines are black. And this, again, 3-star read. So many 3-star reads. If you like true crime podcasts or YouTube videos or anything like that, I think that you will enjoy this book. I think I'm going to try and listen to the second one and see how I feel about that. The ending was so... I just had a hard time believing that everything in the ending happened as cleanly as it did for them. So... yeah, I mean, it was fun though. It was a fun read, but not. We'll see. I'm gonna try number 2. Okay, then I had a prompt to read a book with water on the cover, and for that I chose "Leave the World Behind" by Rumain Alam, and this was a 1-star read. I really hated this so much. It is you get the sense it's like an apocalyptic novel, like it's just starting right then, but it's so vague, and the characters, he makes some really interesting character choices that I didn't agree with. A lot of really random describing of genitals, including a teenage boy's. There was nothing I enjoyed about this book. And I really couldn't even tell you 100% what it was about, because hard pass. Book of the month did me dirty this time. All right, then I landed on a specific author space, and I got Jodi Picoult, so I read Handle with Care, and this, guys, was finally a 5-star read. And this is Jodi at her best. It follows the family of a little girl who has, I can't remember what the exact name of it is, but it's like brittle bone disease, where simply moving in her sleep, she could break a bone. And examining a parent's right to information prior to birth to make decisions about that child and what they would do, and the cost of medical care, and how alone parents can feel when they have a child with significant medical disabilities. Looking at it also from the viewpoint of the child who has the severe medical disorder, from the siblings' perspective. And Jodi is such an amazing storyteller, and she takes these very controversial subjects, does such a good job of presenting both sides of the argument, and in such a wonderful way that you cannot put it down. And her books just, they're so easy to read. I was scared of her for so long. Thank you, my friend Jackie, for making me read Jodi. I love her so much. I'm working my way through her entire backlog. So that was one good one for the month, finally. All right, then I had to read the lowest rated on my Goodreads, and it was this little thing here called Immaculate Obsession by John Affleck. And I'm not even going to spend any time on it. This was 1 star. It was stupid. It came in a book crate that I got forever ago. I don't even think the book crate exists anymore. The Steelers, and I'm from Pittsburgh, the Steelers were a portion of the story, and even that couldn't even bump it up to 2 stars. It was sucked so bad. All right, then I landed on an author who lives where you want to live. Guys, I don't want to live anywhere different, but if I had to choose somewhere different, I picked Prince Edward Island. And so I read the second book in the Anne of Green Gables series, Anne of Avonlea by L.M. Montgomery, and this was a 4-star read. I really enjoyed it. Not as much as the first one, but God, I love Anne. I love seeing her grow up. There was some new characters that we meet in here that I just absolutely loved and adored. It's Anne. I mean, she's so fun. So 4 stars. It was really good. All right, then my prompt was a book a friend would like. So for that, I picked my tried and true Francine Rivers and went with The Voice in the Wind. This is the first book in the Mark of the Lion. I think it's a duology. Might be a trilogy. I have 2 of them. This might be a trilogy. In any case, in this one, we are following a slave girl named Hadassah. And she had been taken from the final siege of Jerusalem and is a slave in Rome. And if you enjoyed the movie Gladiator, which, guys, I know lots of men and women both who enjoyed the movie Gladiator. If you enjoyed that movie, I really think that you would enjoy this book. Francine is just, again, she's like Jody. She's just such an excellent, amazing storyteller from the word go. She's got you sucked in and involved in the story, and you just cannot wait to find out what is going to happen. And the ending of this one, man, so good. Love Francine. All right, then I landed on Read Like Krista. This is the first time. This is the second time I've landed on Read Like, one of my favorite booktubers. And so I had so many options I could choose from this one because I have bought so many books because of Krista. So I, though, went with Diane Chamberlain because she talks about her. I think, personally, the people I feel like Krista talks about the most are Diane Chamberlain and Susan Meisner. So I needed to go with one of those. And this was my first Diane Chamberlain, and that was The Dream Daughter. And guys, this was really, really good too. I wound up giving this 5 stars. This is one of those books that, like, I kept thinking about after I was done reading it. In the middle of the book, there's like this twist that, I don't know, I didn't even read this. There's this twist I did not totally see coming. And after that, it like made it even more engaging for me. And it was the most perfect ending. I loved the ending so much. It was exactly what I needed. So that was 5 stars. That was good. So you can see, I told you guys, kind of all over the place this month. All right, then I landed on a random number, which I got the number 13, and that was Wild at Heart by John Eldridge, and this is Discovering the Secret of a Man's Soul. It says Christian nonfiction, and it is kind of like I want to say a companion, but this was written first to the book Captivating, which is by Stacey Eldridge, and that's one of my favorite books. This one would not so much. It was fine. I wound up only giving it 2 stars. It was just fine. I just didn't love it. All right, then I read some other books that I hadn't planned on reading this month. So let me figure out what those were. All right, I read The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix, and it was fine. Not my favorite Grady Hendrix. My favorite is The Southern Woman's Guide to Killing, Slaying Vampires, whatever that one is. I never get the title right, but that's my favorite. This one was 3 stars. It was still fine, but maybe it was because it had so much hype. There was so much hype for this, and it just didn't quite live up to it for me the way that I had hoped it would. I know this is going to be turned into a series or a movie. I think a series on something, and of course I want to watch it. But yeah, 3 stars. I listened to this one on audio, and then I also listened to We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. That was also 3 stars. In this one, a bandmate sells his soul to get, fame and fortune, and in turn the rest of the band kind of gets screwed. And it's a battle with the devil. Kind of think like, I don't know, I kept thinking about like The Devil Went Down to Georgia as I was reading it. Kind of loosely think about that. And so I think I only have one more Grady Hendrix to read, and then I'll have read everything that he has out, and that's My Best Friend's Exorcism. Pretty sure that's the last one I have. Right, then I listened to For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing, and this is her latest release, and this one was fun. This was 4 stars. A lot of twists. I wasn't sure what the ending was going to be, which is always really good, and it's like following these characters at a private school, and there's some poisonings happening, and yeah, it was fun. I didn't care for Samantha Downing's first book, but her last two I have enjoyed quite a bit, and she has like the best covers, man. I mean, look at this cover, it's spot on. It just draws me. And then I listened to The Taking of Jake Livingston, and that is by Ryan Douglas. That was a 3-star read. It is a young adult ghost story, possession, a good fall Halloween read. It was fine. It was okay. I'm having a hard time with young adult recently, I gotta be honest. I'm gonna be doing some try chapters because I just don't know that it's my jam anymore. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's just the newer stuff. I mean, there's still a couple things that I really like I love Carval. But, and like The Hate You Give, I love that. But there's a lot. I'm having a hard time connecting with young adult anymore. And I don't know if it's, I think it has to do with the more like mature, sexy kind of content in there that I just don't want to read about that with teenagers. Like when I was younger, okay, but I feel like it wasn't even a thing then, but now it's just kind of gross now. Now that I'm 40, yeah. So that's kind of the issue I'm having with young adult overall. All right, then I read The Perfect Nanny by Lila, I think it's Lila Soleimani, and I had to read a translated book for one of my book challenges for this year, and this was translated from French. Unfortunately, this ended up being a 2-star for me. It just didn't do it for me. It just wasn't really all that enjoyable. Like, it was fine, but, yeah, it was fine. It was 2 stars. I won't be keeping it. I wouldn't read it again. All right, then I read This Present Darkness by Frank Peretti, and I have been wanting to read this for a while. That is a novel. I guess it's kind of like a novel of the apocalypse, and I feel like it had been recommended to me, and I gotta be honest, I thought it was so cheesy. If you're gonna read it, don't listen to it. Frank Peretti reads it, which I think would be fine, but there's like this music in the background. It is just like cheese beyond cheese beyond cheese. And I have done apocalyptic novels done so well. Like the Left Behind series by Tim LaHaye and Jerry Jenkins. Love that so much. Wendy Alex, Chronicle of the Brotherhood, done so well. Love it. This one was so bad. And I thought, like, maybe it's just because I'm listening to it that it's this and so bad. But that went on, and I read some of the reviews, and everyone was saying the same things that I was thinking. So I think I had it spot on, and I did not like it at all. Will definitely not be continuing in that series, because I think that was the first in a series. All right, then I listened to The Therapist by B.A. Paris, and that was a 4-star read. I enjoyed B.A. Paris's writing, and again, kept me guessing. The characters were like, unlikable, but not like horrifically unlikable. Like Casual Vacancy had the most horrific, unlikable characters that were just so terrible. But in this one, they're like, kind of like how the Real Housewives, no, I don't watch the Real Housewives, so I'm making an assumption here. I think like how you would feel about the Real Housewives, or like none of them are really the best people, but you can't help but still like them in some ways. So yeah, but that one was good. I think it's B.A. Paris's most recent book. Then I read The Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Leguin, and I have been wanting to try her out for a while. I am not sure what it was about this one. It ended up being 3 stars. It has everything in it that I would normally like, but I just didn't connect with it for some reason. And it's a young adult sci-fi, I guess is how I would classify it. And I'm not going to be continuing with that series. Right, then I finally finished Cast, which I have been reading for since I think I started it during Black History Month this past year, and finally finished it. And I ended up giving this 3 stars. I did learn a lot in here about the caste system. I did have some issues with it, but more from like a sociological standpoint. I have a master's degree in sociology, and so I tend to look at everything from a sociological standpoint. And so yeah, that was where I took some umbrage with it. But in terms of like readability, ease of read, it was very good. So yeah, 3 stars. All right, then I listened to A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers, and that is the first in the Monk and Robot series, I think is what it's called. And it was kind of a little novella, and it was just over 100 pages, I think. I enjoy Becky Chambers' writing. I loved Long Way from a Small Angry Planet. That was what got me into Becky Chambers. So good. And I liked this one more and more as I got into it. So even though it was 3 stars, I'm gonna continue. I want to read the second one because by the end I was like pretty invested. So I'd like to see what happens next. Then I read The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave, and I enjoyed this one an awful lot. I wound up giving this 5 stars. This one had me guessing up until the very end, and I enjoyed the characters in here a whole lot. I liked the setting. There's like 2 pretty distinct settings in here, and I liked the settings, and it was really good, which is so funny because when I got this, I couldn't even remember what it was about. I had ordered it from Book of the Month, and looking at it on my shelf, I was not drawn to reading it at all, but somehow wound up reading it this month, and it was very good. 5 stars, so I'm glad I did. Then I read Good Company by Cynthia Dupree, Sweeney, and this is kind of, I want to classify it as like a family saga, family drama, I guess is where it would land, which I enjoy family dramas. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I enjoyed this more than I thought that I would. So I actually read several Book of the Months this month. I'm pretty happy about that. I think 4, a total of 4 Book of the Months I read, which is really good. Then my last one for the month, guys, I read a lot this month. I listened to Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, first time listening to it, and I really enjoyed it a lot. I loved the setting. I loved the setting so much. Northanger Abbey, I want to go hang out there. I want to go into the gardens, and it just sounds like the most amazing place. And I enjoyed these characters a lot too. So I've never had any previous exposure to Northanger Abbey. I've never seen an adaptation of it or anything. And so I went into it very, very blind, and I really, really liked it. So 4 stars for that. And that is it, guys. Whew, that's a lot to talk about. So overall, like I said, it was a very mixed bag this month. Oh, I lied. I have my DNF. I do have a DNF. One more. Sorry. I DNF'd Hey Mom by Louis Anderson. Stories for my mother, but you can read them too. And gotta be honest, I didn't want, like, I thought it would be funny. I really enjoy this one stand-up he does that like focuses on his mom and his family. It's one of our favorites because it reminds us so much of my grandmother. But this really wasn't funny, and it's somewhat depressing, to be honest with you, which is not what I would have expected from a Louis Anderson book. So I ended up DNFing that. I just didn't want to continue with it. And I was even listening to it, and he's reading it, so it should have been so good. But it wasn't. Alright, guys. That is it. Have you read any of these? I would love to hear your thoughts. Did you agree with me? Not agree with me? What do you think? I would love to interact with you guys down in the comments. If you liked this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you would like to hear more from me, I also do FlossTube videos and ColorTube videos, but primarily a BookTube channel. If you would like to connect with me anywhere else, everywhere you can find me on the interwebs is down in the description box. And I will catch up with you guys later. Bye!